Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And definitely today's important news. It's come from David Lukacs, who's CEO of KABN North America, trades on the CSE under the stock symbol KABN. Look, we know it's a news story to a lot of you. First of all, because there's a new listing just in the summertime, and the company has been steadily progressing and moving its technology forward. So for those of you who are new to the story, let me give you a bit of a summary here. To understand what they're doing. Facebook and other tech giants showed the world. They showed all of us that sharing our private data and profiting from it became a major issue. In fact, it spawned major legislation both in Europe and the United States that not only puts a stop to a lot of these data privacy practices, but also demands that individuals are given the opportunity to take control of their digital identities and even profit from them. Okay, so this is a huge paradigm shift. That term is often referred to as self-sovereign identity, SSI. And though it sounds kind of complicated, it's actually music to the ears of investors that want to learn more about this massive global trend. Now, KABN is the small cap company that's leaps and bounds, guys, leaps and bounds ahead of any other small cap company in the space. Their technology is damn cool. Go check out liquidavatar.com, liquidavatar.com. And their global recognition is even better given their recent addition to the Trust Over IP Foundation as a steering member, not just as some associate. And they're joining the likes of IBM, MasterCard, Accenture, other global giants that are forming an ecosystem around SSI. This is a global paradigm shift. You don't want to miss it because it's happening right now, and KABN is a leader. David, welcome to the show.
Wow, big introduction. Thanks, George.
Well, look, it warrants it, right? You guys doing amazing things, and people haven't really understood you guys because it's not the easiest thing to wrap your mind around, right? Because you're changing things. So before I ask you about today's press release, and we'll read the headline in a second, lots of new people are watching. We now know that yesterday, over 10 million shares were traded, 130% spike in the price. So we know a lot of new people are watching. In layman's terms, what do you do? What's the problem you're solving? I know there are many, but the primary.
So I'm going to start with the simplest, which is another factor. What's our reach? What's our addressable market? Our addressable market is 100% of people online, period. Everyone online needs to manage their identity. We do it in the real world. Why aren't we doing it online? And, I heard a story recently that sort of made sense to me. Trying to insert identity into the internet is like trying to change a jet airplane engine in mid-flight without disturbing passengers. It's a complicated process because it requires a lot of technology, a lot of trust, privacy, and security. And finally, it's there. I mean, it wasn't contemplated at the beginning, it's there. So one is our addressable market is 100% of the online market.
Yeah, everybody needs to protect their identity and even profit from it. This isn't some people use Spotify, some people use Netflix, some people use Amazon. This is ubiquitous across everybody.
Exactly, because it will be what's called interoperable. You'll be able to share it wherever you want to share it, and privately and securely. So addressable market 100%. Two, it is something easy to understand. We carry a wallet and a key ring. We need to do the same thing online. When we want to access, why are we using a username and password? It's so archaic. Why aren't we using a credential that I have in a wallet that I can take out and use electronically? So that's the second part. So what we do is we empower users, give them the tools and services that help them manage their self-sovereign identity, their ability to control their identity and their data online. Period. End of discussion.
But David, right now, devil's advocate, because we've heard this before, so let's have this conversation. I go online right now. It's Christmas season. I want to go shopping. I go on Amazon. They know me by email, and now I enter my credit card. Don't I already have my identity kind of controlled? What's the problem?
Is it your credit card? Can you prove it's your credit card? You can't really prove it's your credit card. You can't prove it's you. Now, they have a name, a username, and a credit card, but they don't know it's George's. They don't know that, your wife or your kids are using that credit card under your own auspice or without permission. They don't know if the information's been stolen. They don't know if someone's got into your phone and hacked it. There's lots of pieces. So what we do is The other piece we add is we add biometrically verified identity. That's a fancy way of saying that in the cloud, we use facial recognition and other factors to make sure that you are you when you're using a credential online. So it's not only about,
Right.
if we're giving you the tools and services to manage your identity, it has to be securely and privately, and you have to be in control. So there's a
So
lot of,
Amazon now is going to say, all right, this looks like George. You've got George's username and password. You've got his credit card. Now show me that you're actually George.
exactly. So
Because in the real world, they know it because I'm there, right? At
face
the
to face,
restaurant, right?
right?
Right
Yeah.
at the store. But in online, you're right. They don't know. So you guys are the final mile, right? Or maybe the final meter, but it seems like the most important part to really to really bring trust and security online. So today's press release, you announced, and I'm going to read this: Liquid Avatar, Lumetic, Loop Insights, which we're going to talk about because that's the GoreCom client, and to see that in the headline is a big deal. The campus agency and Trip experts form a consortium to manage verifiable identity credentials for COVID-19 vaccinations. There's a lot in there. What does today's release mean?
Well, let's start with the problem. Okay. So the problem is, right now people are sick from COVID, and we wish everyone well and hope everybody stays healthy. That's the key. But how do you solve the problem in helping people start getting back to work, play, life? We're using the hashtag getting back to, fill in the noun or the verb. Once you have your vaccine or you're tested or diagnostics, we want to help you start getting back to something. How do we do that? That is the problem. Problem is, even if you get a vaccination, for argument's sake, how do people know that you have it? How do you know that you have your vaccination? How you're safe? Because travel's being affected not because you're safe, but you're afraid the guy beside you isn't safe, right? And on an airplane or in a resort or in a restaurant. So it's a whole bunch of issues. So how do we solve that? The first thing you need to do is have an ecosystem that works with three separate but intertwined groups. One is an issuer, the ability for an authorized medical facility to issue a credential saying you got your vaccination, it belongs to George, and that now it's connected not only to George, but George's identity, and that certificate, that electronic credential, verifiable credential or certificate, is in George's digital wallet.
So just taking a piece of paper from the medical clinic and saying George got vaccinated, not enough. You think that's a
Well,
weakness?
you can probably buy it on the street for $5, right?
And
There,
when people's
same with
lives on the
anything.
line,
How do you know it's true? So this connects George's identity to the credential. So that's an issuer. An authorized issuer issues an authorized credential
right?
that's connected to your identity. Simple. Two is the holder. Holder is George. George is holding that credential in his digital wallet. And we're giving you tools and services. And over time, there'll be other providers of verifiable credentials, not just ourselves. There'll be all kinds of people. We're sort of the app store for credentials in that sense. We're holding all your credentials.
Interesting. I like that.
Think about it. And then the third part is a verifier, a venue, a school, an arena, a workplace that says, hold on, George, before you come in here, we need to know, one, that you are
Right.
you, and two, that credential belongs to you.
Because
So
we could have all the vaccinations hit everybody, January 1st. But if I try and go to the Scotia Center to watch a Raptor game,
Mhm.
and the Raptor and MLSE wants to know that I have my vaccine, that I have been vaccinated, that's what they're going to want to see. They're going to say, okay, you got a ticket, great. You're here, great. You tell me you're vaccinated. I need to see it, and you need to biometrically prove that in fact that belongs to you before you come in. Because there's no way they're just going to let 20,000 people. Vaccinations not. They're not just going to let 20,000 people back into Scotia Center and say, okay, let's hope that everyone here is telling the truth.
Well, that's the whole point. So this is sort of a catalyst. This is one of the big credentials that need to be dealt with, right? And so Lumetic, our partner Lumetic, is in that business. They're part of a larger organization that powers, I think over 50 hospitals, 1,200 patient care facilities, lots of doctors. They work with other partners in the medical field, and
I like that.
so it's a large organization. And we're creating within their exchange. They have an ecosystem, and we'll probably create another ecosystem to support this. Holders are the holders. We can work with any organization that has large groups of people to bring them into Liquid Avatar and give them all the tools and services at no cost to the user or to the person who's bringing that person to the table, they can have a liquid avatar and all these services. And then a verifier will pay a small fee for verification. So Lumetic is sort of the anchor point on the medical side, and the exchange, because they're also they're part of the Trust Over IP Foundation, and they've got other amazing partners. So it's a natural fit for us.
What I really like about that, David, is that you're not trying to do everything, because that's just too big of a problem to try. Rob Anson used it the other day. You can't try and boil the ocean.
Boil the ocean,
You
exactly.
can't boil the ocean. So I love the fact that Lumetic is going to take care of, all right, David, we're going to take care of hospitals, doctors, clinics, and obviously they don't have all of them in the world, but it's a start with a really big ecosystem. And then everybody's plugging in, and your part is the credential verification at the end of the day, that, yep, George did walk into our clinic, or he did walk to our hospital, and he did get his vaccination. And KABN is the company that's biometrically proving that.
Well, we're proving that George is George as part of the thing, and giving George the tools to hold that credential.
Right.
We're all working to create that credential. And Lumetic works with larger partners and organizations, which will come to light in future information.
Wow.
that we'd recognize every day. But let's leave that aside. The second part is, now I want to get into somewhere. Well, we all have friends and partners, and we announced in August a deal with Loop, and that was the natural progression. Loop creates phenomenal contact tracing and test, track, and trace programs for venues and large organizations.
Bubbles now, venue bubbles.
Right. It's a natural fit for us to take their credential to the next level and make sure it's a verifiable identity credential. That not only the issuing a credential, but now it belongs to somebody, and it's transportable, private, and easy to use.
And I love to read their quote, because you and I have talked about it. Everybody in Agoracom now knows, when it comes to small cap and Agoracom, third-party validation is everything. So this is a quote from Rob Anson, the president and CEO of Loop Insights, and it speaks volumes. The success of Loop, and bear with me here, but I think everyone should hear this, has had with our recent NCAA sporting events using our venue tracing and management tools, only reinforces the need for a unified, verifiable credential that consumers and businesses can trust. Working with KABN and Liquid Avatar and their digital identity platform will provide our customers and ultimately consumers with the level of trust required to provide personal information such as COVID testing results, vaccination proof, payment, and other sensitive personal information required in today's changing landscape. I mean, that's amazing from the functional point of view. And then I want to add in his almost personal comment. It seems like we are thrilled to be one of the first partners to work with KABN and Liquid Avatar on an end-to-end solution that will provide the safety, security, and peace of mind required to protect consumers looking to return to a new way of life, where mobile devices and personal information will be the forefront of nearly every interaction. What does it feel like to get that kind of a quote from Rob over at Loop Insights?
I mean, we're humbled by that. I mean, Rob and the team at Loop have done a phenomenal job in sort of paving the way for where we're all going. So that's great. And behind the scenes, we're hoping to help them with some of our contacts as well. And so that's a great partner for venues. And then, well, what's one of the biggest problems for young people? Can't get back to school, right? So we're working with the campus agency, which has relationships on over 2,000 university and colleges in the United States. So there's millions and millions of students, right, that we can start working with and empowering them to start getting back to school. And then trip experts, we've known these people for a long time. They've been in the industry for over 20 years. They come from some of the major corporations, and they work with tourism and travel boards. Well, Mexico is losing 40 million, basically passengers or tourists a year.
Wow.
And so they're creating technologies and services with the tourism boards and other partners that need to say, well, if you're going to travel, I mean, we hear a lot about this. If you're going to travel, you need to be verified. Well, there are going to be different credentials. Let me be clear about this. Again, if Apple produces their own apps, but they allow others to produce apps and put them in an app store, right? We're going to produce credentials that we need to produce, but we're also going to bring in partners that are producing credentials.
Yeah, you can't produce every single credential on the planet.
Our key is helping you, the consumer, manage all of that through Liquid Avatar. So where we can, we'll produce them. Where we don't, we'll hold them, and it might be multiple formats, multiple wallets. It's going to get a little confusing for the consumer, and Liquid Avatar is there to make it easy and seamless, private and secure to do that. And the transaction we're talking about here, George, today, where it's the issuer issues the credential, George holds the credential, and you go to a verifier to verify. That's a private transaction. We don't get involved. Once the credential is created, it's all private. We never see the transaction. We don't like it follows all the rules and regs, and it's all blockchain based. So it is effectively, trustless, but fully trusted at the same time.
So this sounds like, give us an idea of rollout, and then I want to ask you about how you make money from it, right? So shareholders now want to know two things. So I think at this point, we're really satisfied. You've got fantastic technology, and you've got multiple partners. That was just one quote I read, but every partner gave a quote. You got multiple partners talking about how they need, like a Trip Expert says, the ability, this partner gives us the ability to verify an individual's identity with certainty while maintaining security and privacy. So, everybody is, it's the validation there. So two things I want to ask you. Rollout. How fast are you and the consortium going to start to roll this out? Through the healthcare side, through the education side, through the travel side, and the venue side, obviously with Loop.
Right.
And then let's talk about how KABN you kind of touched on earlier, but let's specifically talk about how does KABN make money from all this?
Sure, but the first part is rollout. It'll be through Q1. We have a number of other consortium partners that we're hoping to land and put on, and we welcome, as we talk to people out there, if you know of a company that would like to talk to us about this, obviously we're open because we want to help people start getting back to what their lives are, and that can be real estate companies, it can be hospitality. We'll be adding more and more consortium partners because we want to listen to what people need and want. It's not just about producing a technology. A technology doesn't work unless it fits the needs of the people that it's serving. So that's really important. So Q1 is sort of our rollout mandate, and we have to also be cognizant of when the vaccine will be available to people, right? Because we're hearing all kinds of different information, but frankly, as the masses roll out, we want to be there. And prototypically, a lot of the pieces are already built. So it's kind of putting hooks together and all that type of stuff. So that's number one. Number two is, how do we make money? Well, there's two ways. One, there's a way when a verifier verifies a user, there's going to be a micropayment for that.
So MLSE, I go to watch a Raptor game, MLSE, in order to scan or however they're going to do it, they're going to have to pay half a penny or penny, or I have no idea what it, but they're the ones who are generating
a few $100s for an entire game, right?
Okay.
Or a little bit more. We're still playing with that, but it's inexpensive for the value proposition of getting millions of dollars.
Yeah, damn straight.
Right? Very, very small. The second thing is our business is really built on creating one-to-one relationships with our users of Liquid Avatar.
Okay, I like that.
We talked about this a number of times. So the more people that use our credentials, our Liquid Avatar users, they're private, they're known individuals, they're verified identity people. So we have partners that want to reach those people on a permission base. We never sell or rent data, and we'll be bringing opportunities to those people that might fit their lifestyle.
So you've got George Cholis as in Liquid Avatar, and you know that he's a 50-plus-ish year old male who likes finance and lives in Toronto or whatever the case may be. And then you ask me, hey, George, do you want to see, I mean, maybe I'm saying maybe it's too rudimentary basic, but basically, hey, George, you want to see car deals on new cars or insurance or banking or vacations, but you ask my permission. That way, whoever's sending it to me knows I want it. They know that I'm actually verified, and I get a little bit of that revenue as well, right?
Well, they can never send it to you. They send it to the platform, and you have to accept it.
Right.
So there's never direct contact unless you make it. And the second thing is because we're cutting out the middlemen, we're cutting out the search engine, we're cutting out, the sort of the media, we can create better deals for our users. So our users can get better deals because it's a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-few relationship. So the efficiency in the marketing relationship increases dramatically. And this type of solution has been used time and time again, but generally speaking, the user isn't fully known. Now the user is fully known.
So so as a result, you've got me, first of all, as in the consortium, and I want to go see a game, and MLSE is paying a small fee for me to verify it's me. But then outside, everything else I do, whether it's shopping or looking at ads or things, then you're making small piece of the pie in the rest of my digital life, essentially.
Exactly. That's the way we work.
And the user, I'm assuming, is really happy with that, because now I've got control of my personal identity. I'm profiting from, as opposed to Facebook taking my data and just making a mountain of money. Man, are you going to be hated by the likes of Facebook, or, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek, or are they all going to look to KABN and say, look, we know we have to switch our business models because the law, right? And let's talk about that. It's not KABN trying to push through a new business model. You're facilitating it on the back of major new legislation out of Europe and bless you,
Thank you.
and the United States, and now Canada soon. So are they looking to you and saying, okay, David, laws have changed, we need new business models, help us out?
Well, not yet. I mean, we've stayed fairly low key. We're just starting. Our coming out party is just starting now, but our goal is to be able to work with everybody. You know, most business systems are B2B or B2B2C. We're exactly the opposite. We're C2B or C2B2B, right? We start with the consumer and work up the food chain. We don't come from the top. So it's a unique way of looking at things, and we think it'll be very valuable.
Look, we could talk for an hour
Yeah.
about how KABN is going to be part of a massive paradigm shift, but I'll say it to save David a little bit of voice, which is, this is a paradigm shift that's happening. This isn't the feature that would kind of be cool. This isn't something that you can have or not have. This is where the world's going to go. The laws of Europe, the laws of the US, the laws of Canada are forcing this to happen. And if KABN is at the cutting edge of it, then guys, start your due diligence. Get to Agoracom, because we know this is a very difficult concept for new people. A lot of people have been around for a while and they're very happy. But a lot of new people, it's tough to get their minds around it. So get to Agoracom, go to the profile section and kind of go through that. We've laid it out in layman's terms, right? Then go to liquidavatar.com. That's where I want you to go. Go to liquidavatar.com, because that's going to be the cool factor right along with it. And, there's your due diligence. Hopefully what you guys have discovered is your next great, small cap company. David, I'll leave the last word to you as to how happy you are that KABN is ending off the year on such a strong note and going into 2021 with some tailwind.
Well, thanks again, George. It's amazing to be here as always. Our job is to build value for our stakeholders, our community, and our constituents, and that's been our goal. Timing, is critical, but we want to do it when the time is right, and the time is right now. So we're launching products and services as they become available, because we know how critical it is, again, to start helping people getting back to what they need to do. And we think this is an apropos solution for that. And we're excited to partner with companies like Lupin and Trip Experts and Lumetic and the Campus Agency, and in the future others, to make this all happen. And we appreciate all the support we get from Agoracom and its constituents as well.
Hey, and one day Agoracom as well, right? We're going to be launching a Liquid Avatar program. I mean, people still be able to be on Agoracom Anonymous if they want, but if they want to have a Liquid Avatar and they want to have that active on Agoracom, then you're going to see that in 2021. So David, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done today. Bask in the happiness and the kind of glory that comes with, the coming out party, as you say it. And it's a big coming out party. This is not a little one. This consortium is a big consortium, and I can't wait to have you back, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Great to be here.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.